Okay guys, I was so focused on my birthday goals going up to July 11th that I completely glossed over the fact that you are halfway through your year and there's only 3 places you can be right now. Pull out those goals and look at them. If you wrote them down, maybe you have an app or you have somewhere that you might have jotted down all of your goals back in December or January preparing for this year. And there's only 3 places you can be. You can be right on track, which is great. You can be ahead of the game, which, wow, that's amazing. Or you can be behind where you feel like you wanted to be or need to be to reach your goal. So we're just gonna look at those things and you get to decide where you go from here. Now, it's always good to look at the goals and question them. Do I still even want this goal? Not because you're giving up on it, you don't think you can make it, but just because it's not all exciting as you thought it was. Now, I had several of my goals that I switched out because they were okay, this is something that I do anyhow. I don't need to put it on a goal list, or this is just not something I enjoy, or this is just not going to happen. Now, one of mine that I switched out is a funny one because I wanted to, on my list of 50, hand out 50 baggies of goodies. All it was it's to people on the street. I don't know if they're homeless or what their story is, but I just like to have something to hand out my window that's not just here's some money for your habit or whatever it is. I have a hard time trusting that people are what their signs say, if you know what I mean. But I had a little baggie and it has snack, a water bottle, a little God thought card with scripture, and a $1 bill. So at least they did get some money. It was like a goodie bag. And I have given out quite a few. Now my goal was to hand out 50. And as I went along, I was finding it more and more challenging to hand them out. Yes, I probably could have driven around town and just gone to all the spots and handed them out to everybody. It just didn't seem quite like where I wanted the heart of it to be. I wanted to feel prompted by God to give this person something out my window. Now, there's different ways to look at it. I did create a habit. I always keep one in my car. I probably gave out maybe 25. I always have one in my car ready, 3 or 4 of them. So I did create that habit and I like that. So I'm calling that success. Now, it got uncomfortable in the point where I would be at a light and I wouldn't be in the lane next to them. So I felt like these people are gonna risk their life. If I put something out the window, traffic's gonna go, I'm gonna be responsible for someone being hit by a car. I just couldn't do it. I found it very stressful at times. The pressure of, I wanna make this goal, but then where's this coming from? Is it really from my heart to give to people, or was it to check it off my list? And it really was I wanted to check it off my stupid list. So I decided to just take it off of my list and just decide that it's okay. And I created a habit. I always have something prepared. And I might change it up in the wintertime. I might have some socks or gloves or something else with a snack and a scripture card and a $1 bill. I'll change it up maybe for seasons. But anyhow, that's just kind of an idea. That's just kind of an example of a goal that I was I'm going to do this. It's on my list to yeah, it didn't turn out quite like it was when I thought of it. It wasn't quite turning out like I wanted. So I decided, I made an executive decision to take it off my list and I replaced it with something else. It was probably the rowing or something. You guys know I added some things in and replaced some things. Not because it was oh, I just can't do this, because I know that I could have made it happen. I could have driven all over one day probably and given out all of my bags, but that wasn't the place I wanted to do it from. I also could have given you guys some to hand out for me. That would have worked too, but I decided, now, that brings me to a little nugget. I want you to know that you are the CEO of your life. You're in charge. As the CEO of my life, I made an executive decision to scratch that out, go for something else, because I was on a list of 50, which you guys aren't on a list of 50. But you're going to look at your goals that you had and decide on purpose, Is this something I really want to keep going on? If it's something you want to stop, question that. Like, why do I want to stop? Do I want to stop because I believe that I'm not going to make it, believe it's too hard, or believe that I'm just not good enough, I'm not enough, or whatever? Those reasons are not good reasons. Those reasons you need some coaching for. The reasons that you want to stop one is like, I just am really not in love with this goal anymore. Like, it doesn't matter if I get there, I'm still not excited about it. That's one that you can just let it go. But let's say that you still want to keep going on your goal. So you get to decide what to do from here. Do you need to maybe think about like how you're going after the goal? And also, I feel like asking yourself like, okay, have a conversation with yourself. Say, okay, I know that you still want to go for this goal, and like what we're doing now, it's not quite working. How can I best support myself to get there? What would help? Could I get an accountability partner, get a coach, get a friend, someone to support me in that decision along the way for accountability? Or just how can I set up my life, my habits? What do I need to instill in my world to reach that goal while still loving myself? Because you don't want to get to your goal and just hate yourself all the way. It doesn't work. That doesn't work well. You won't be satisfied at the end. And then decide like, I don't know if I can make it all the way by December or whatever your goal deadline is, but I know that I can reevaluate what I'm doing, revamp my efforts, and just get as close as I can. Because in the end, you decide, were you successful? I decided that I was successful on handing out my bags with like 25. That's fine. And the habit that I created, that I always have one available when I feel like I need to hand one to someone. I've got it there. Now, so you get to decide, when I get there, was it a success? If you go out to lose 100 pounds, are you going to be upset if you only lose 80? I hope not, because you made it a heck of a lot farther than if you would have just like thrown your hands in the air and reverted back to all your bad habits. Like, as close as you can get, it gets more and more, and you can be like, that was success. I'm going to see what I can do now. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to have that next goal on the top of the water slide, like I talked about before, just ready to go off when it's time to go for the next goal. Never stopping on ourselves. We're always evolving as humans, becoming better and better, and loving people more and more, deepening our relationships with ourselves and those around us. Now, I want you to take out your goals, evaluate where you are and where you want to be. You can add a new goal in at any minute, any day of the week, any hour of the day. You can decide, you know what, I think I want to add this. I want to see if I can do this. Just challenge yourself over and over as you're growing into a stronger person, not just in physical strength, but mental strength. And that relationship with yourself becomes more and more solid. That's where the money is, guys. That's where everything is, that relationship with yourself. If you don't have yourself filled up, you can't overflow to others. Now, I hope you have a great Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday. Transform those goals into actions and figure out your success that you're going for, and never stop until just never stop. All right, bye.